You're watching First Alert 7 News at 9 on the CW and live on YouTube with Lauren Munt and weather with Tom Tiefertiller.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for First Alert 7 News at 9 on the CW, and thanks to those of you joining us live on our First Alert 7 YouTube page. I'm Jay Hendricks in for Lauren Munt. We start tonight with election news. Tonight was the second local debate happening this election year. Mary Kate Hamilton was the moderator as the candidates are up for the City Council at large seats and the seats in District 1 and District 2. A topic heavily discussed, and tonight was infrastructure, with both focusing on roads and water. But another point of debate was the recent turnover rate in the city, with the lost bond ratings and almost the entire finance department leaving. Candidates were asked about how they can ensure the city money is used wisely and efficiently.
We got to keep somebody up there that knows how to run city management. You got to have some kind of experience in city management in order to run a city.
And bring in new people so we can have fresh new ideas. And as we're seeing right now, we have a surplus. We're doing good. We're getting these problems fixed, so something's working.
Of course, no city council is perfect, which is why they were also asked on how they plan to work with someone they might not get along with and how they can resolve their issues.
I got lots of practice the last 4 years. I said, I'm not going to fight them. I'm just going to try to get along. When I disagree, I will vote no, state my reason, and move on.
We're not always going to be agreeing on everything, but I do want to be a team player. I do want to be able to be accessible to my own group. If it doesn't work out, then that's what we vote independently. So I am looking forward to this.
And as technology progresses and social media is more popular than ever, it's easier to be attacked online. Candidates also discussed their thoughts on the civility in campaigning and even addressed some current issues from the active campaign.
No personal attacks. Go after the issues. Go after their platform. Stay away from personal. Stay away from family. The end. That's what I signed. That's what I meant. And that's what I've done. Can't say the same.
Social media is the devil's advocate, actually. I've been trolled for 4 years now, and so I try not to pay attention. The Fair Ethics campaign is out there. I'm not sure exactly when he says we all signed up for it. You know, we all sign, saying that we're going to run a campaign, but we can't control other people's actions.
Other topics discussed were why the candidates think they're qualified for the position, their thoughts on separation of church and state, and their areas of priority when it comes to city funding. The debates will continue this week. Tomorrow, the candidates for Odessa mayor take the Basin PBS stage, and we'll, of course, be there to moderate and bring you up to date with a recap. You can tune in to watch live at 7 p.m. on KWWT My 30 or on Basin PBS. Following other politic news, in your state news, we're just weeks away from Election Day, and the candidates vying for a U.S. Senate seat are working to earn West Texas votes. Dallas Congressman Colin Allred hopes to push Senator Ted Cruz out of the seat he's held for 12 years. He stopped in Lubbock over the weekend for a meet and greet at Texas Tech University. Allred spoke about bringing fresh ideas to the Senate, issues facing young voters, working toward bipartisanship, and representing all 30 million Texans, including those rural areas.
And I really look forward to making sure that we can combat some of what I see happening in our rural communities, particularly the healthcare crisis that's ongoing, investing in our infrastructure. There's millions of dollars coming into the Panhandle from the legislation that I voted for, whether it's the CHIPS and Science Act or the infrastructure bill that Senator Cruz voted against. I want to talk about how these investments are helping our communities and helping us going forward.
Before the meet and greet, Allred hosted a discussion with area farmers and ranchers on the future of agriculture. Thursday, Senator Ted Cruz will continue his bus tour, making a stop in Midland. He is hosting a rally at Tall City Brewing Company. Senator Cruz will speak to voters about his vision for the future of Texas. That is from 6:30 to 8. Again, that is coming up on Thursday. New information about Saturday's officer-involved shooting in Big Spring has been released today. According to a news release from the Big Spring Police Department, they were called out after a fight broke out in the 1300 block of Lamar between 23-year-old Justin Rodriguez and a family member. According to the police department release, Rodriguez had 2 knives and was threatening to kill police. Rodriguez then reportedly left the home and started walking north. Authorities located him near the intersection of North Monticello and Barnes. Now, police went on to say that Rodriguez started approaching them while armed, and police attempted to de-escalate the situation. They say he refused and started walking towards civilians. That's when officials tased him to try to get his attention. He then started to approach the officers. 4 officers then brought out their weapons and hit Rodriguez multiple times. The officers then attempted life-saving measures, but he was pronounced dead. Officers were placed on administrative leave, which is standard protocol, and the investigation will be handled by Texas Rangers. No further information has been released at this time. In another update this evening, Texas DPS asking for your help for some new information in the 2018 disappearance of Caitlin Dennison, who was last seen in the Midland and Odessa area. Investigators have new information about a car she may have been last seen in and has renewed interest in this case. Dennison was 19 years old when she went missing. She met a man in Reno, Nevada in January of 2018, and then together they drove to Midland. Investigators say he was a truck driver in the oil industry, and Dennison may have stayed in his RV in West Odessa, but it's his truck that investigators think someone may recognize.
It's a highly customized Ford F-250 pickup. It has a lift kit on it, front bumpers. It's not your everyday vehicle that you see on the roads in the Permian Basin. He had extensive contacts, still has friends and associates in this Permian Basin area that may know something. And investigators do believe they know something. And so we're asking them to come forward and provide closure to the family in this case.
On January 10, 2018, Dennison told family and friends that she and the man made stops at Walmart, Domino's Pizza, and Rick's Cabaret. She also told family she was, quote, afraid for her life, end quote. That is the last day Dennison had any contact with any of her family and friends. The Midland Police Department has been involved in the case since her family contacted them shortly after January 10, 2018, and Dennison's family is currently involved in the new investigation. Now, anyone with information is encouraged to submit a tip online through the Texas Rangers Cold Case website. You can also contact the Texas Rangers by telephone at 1-800-346-3243. Texas Crime Stoppers also offering a cash reward of up to $3,000 to any person who provides information that leads to the arrest of the person responsible for this crime. Texas Crime Stoppers number is 1-800-252-TIPS. Time now to talk your weather forecast. Some beautiful views tonight. Temperatures a little cooler today, but beautiful night tonight, and some even seeing not only the moon and planets out there, but also a comet out there as well, Tom?
That's exactly right. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at a viewer photo really showing us what we need to look for tonight. This is Comet Shushinshan Atlas is the way to pronounce that. And this is looking west. Lydia Frescas brought us this good view showing the planet Venus right now after looking west right after about sunset, after about 45 minutes or so. And right there's the comet with a pretty long tail showing up, and she captured this with a cell phone. So again, a good view there this evening as again, we're going to have numerous opportunities to look at these comets. The comet, I should say, here over the next few days, as it'll be a little bit higher each day this week before it starts to fade out as it gets a little bit further away from the sun, so it'll start to be less and less visible. Had some great viewing this evening and a great day today. Temperatures into the mid-80s out there across the area. Currently, we're down into the mid-70s. Looks like a warm-up tomorrow before we see a big change in our forecast that we'll talk about here in just a couple of minutes.
1 week ago, Odessa High School and UT Permian Basin alumni Kayla Hogan was named fire captain at Odessa Fire Rescue. Captain Hogan has been with OFR for almost 14 years now. She was a firefighter for 6.5 years and a lieutenant for 7. She is now the first woman to be promoted to fire captain at Odessa Fire Rescue.
There's been a reaction, but everybody expected it. So it's kind of like, yes, this is awesome because she is our first female captain, but we expected her to be that because that's the kind of person she is.
She was chosen from a pool of 15 other applicants and says she got to where she is by working hard.
Just work hard. Work hard. If someone's working harder than you, make an effort to work harder than them. It's not going to be easy. If you're going to have someone go against you, then prove them wrong. I mean, you're not always going to do that, but if you want something bad enough and you put in the effort and you put in the time and the energy, it's going to become yours.
Captain Hogan says she always felt supported by her colleagues. The Midland County Public Libraries have 2 new exhibitions open to the public, and each exhibit tells a unique story. But if you visit both, you can see how 2 parts of Texas history are connected. At the Centennial Library, you can find an exhibit on the Chisholm Trail. During the Civil War, Texas cattle ranchers weren't able to get their herds up north to sell. This caused an overabundance of them after the war, and the trail was created to entice Texas ranchers to bring their herds up over the Red River to Kansas. The library has exhibit-specific items, but has also borrowed items from the Haley Memorial Library, the Midland Community Theater, and the Midland Sheriff's Department Mounted Patrol.
Just so people can see, spurs and horse bits and saddles. The kids and grown-ups alike can actually see the saddle and touch it. You can't ride it or sit on it, but to see it up close is really exciting.
If you head over to the library in downtown Midland, you can find the Vaquero exhibit. Vaqueros were Mexican cowboys who were known to break in horses and run cattle. Now, while the Vaquero exhibit is smaller, Vaqueros had a major influence on the Texas culture seen today.
The imagery and the story of it is really beautiful, and maybe it's a little bit lesser known, even though really once you get into it, understanding and learning the background and history of vaqueros and their impact is really influential in what we think of as the Texas cowboy.
The Vaquero exhibit is available until November, while the Chisholm Trail exhibit will be around until December. Still ahead, FEMA is pausing some of its aid. We'll tell you why coming up after the break. FEMA has resumed some operations in North Carolina after it said over the weekend it was forced to pause aid in several areas impacted by Hurricane Helene because of reported threats made toward responders. A 44-year-old North Carolina man was arrested over the weekend and charged with a misdemeanor related to threats against FEMA employees. Cheryl Hubbard has more on the story.
In North Carolina, FEMA resumed door-to-door outreach to disaster survivors on Monday afternoon. That's after some FEMA operations were paused due to threats in some counties over the weekend. The pauses came amid a backdrop of misinformation about responses to recent storms.
Some of those stories just continue to persist at the cost of delivering needed resources to disaster survivors.
On FEMA.gov, it has a fact sheet. Myth: FEMA grant money is a loan that I will need to pay back. Fact: FEMA disaster relief are grants which do not need to be repaid. Myth: I'm a renter. I thought FEMA assistance was only for homeowners for home repairs. Fact: FEMA assistance is not just for homeowners. FEMA may provide assistance to help renters who lost personal property or who were displaced. Myth: FEMA asks for upfront payment to help fill out an application or perform an inspection. Fact: FEMA staff and inspectors never charge money for service.
We don't confiscate land. We don't have black helicopters. We don't have FEMA camps.
44-year-old William Jacob Parsons was arrested over the weekend after authorities said he made a comment about possibly harming FEMA employees working after the disaster of Hurricane Helene in the Lake Lurie and Chimney Rock area. They say he was armed with a handgun and rifle. FEMA said threats caused some FEMA offices to close temporarily. President Joe Biden touted the agency's recovery efforts in Tampa Sunday.
FEMA has delivered 1.2 million meals, over 300,000 liters of water.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Well, back home here in West Texas, we are looking at some quiet weather, but fall weather is arriving. More of it's on the way. We'll talk all about that coming up next.
Now, from the First Alert 7 Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather makers showing you what is going on. We're still underneath a ridge of high pressure, and that's going to keep things relatively quiet for the rest of the week. What we're going to notice first off is some changes with the jet stream pattern. It's going to be a northwest to southeast flow thanks to this upper level disturbance starting to wind up back in here across the Four Corners area. So that is going to bring down a colder Canadian front, and that's going to bring some fall weather to the forecast, especially in the mornings. We could see our first 40s of this fall season coming up by Wednesday morning. Then as this whole system moves out, that is going to bring another Pacific front through and may bring some rain chances to the forecast, but also keep temperatures relatively nice. What we're talking about is 87 tomorrow in comparison to 68 on Wednesday and staying in the lower 70s the rest of the week. So it will be a significant change. Not much happening across the state. We have this old stationary front. Let's go back one here. And that is kind of hanging up to our west. It's going to push off to the north and east through the night into the morning and bring more of a southwest wind to the forecast. So that's going to push temperatures up tomorrow before it finally gets another good push and moves down with some cooler air coming up late tomorrow night into Wednesday. Across the state today, you can kind of make out where the front went through, like 86 at the Midland International Air and Spaceport, 82 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but upper 90s though, Austin, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, 96 degrees, 99 in Houston. Futurecast, not a lot going on here other than the winds will come around to the south to southwest like they already have, but they'll be a little gustier. Then here comes that front with some gusty winds late tomorrow night, early into Wednesday, bringing in that cooler air and a significant change in our forecast. Tonight, upper 50s to near 60, so kind of comfortable. On the Plateau in Marfa, though, down to 49 degrees. And tomorrow we'll see those temperatures warming up a little bit into the upper 80s to low 90s thanks to southwest winds. But then on your First Alert 7 10-day forecast, Wednesday is a much different day. And then there's those rain chances and clouds that may affect area football games and the weekend. So it's definitely something to watch later this week.
Up next here at 9, NASA has successfully launched a spacecraft headed for one of Jupiter's moons. We take a look at the launch up next. And a reminder that First Alert 7 is partnering with the West Texas Food Bank to help resupply the Manna Food Bank in Asheville, North Carolina, that was destroyed by Hurricane Helene. You can see a list of things to be donated, and you can drop those off at either of the West Texas Food Bank locations or here at the First Alert 7 studios in Music City Mall. NASA launched a mission today that will give us an idea of the possibility of life outside of Earth. That's Europa Clipper at the start of a 1.8 billion mile journey to Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. NASA says it is one of the most promising places to look for habitable conditions in our solar system. When the spacecraft arrives, which won't be until 2030, 9 different instruments and a gravity experiment will study the ice-covered moon.
But the scientific payoff is pretty dramatic. They know there is an ocean under the frozen crust of this moon Europa. They can tell that by a variety of remote means. They're hoping to find out with this mission, is that environment habitable? In other words, are the conditions there that could enable microbial life, perhaps, to have formed and even be there today?
The Europa Clipper is the largest spacecraft NASA has ever developed for a planetary mission. When the antennas and solar arrays are fully deployed, it's about the size of a basketball court. The moon Europa is slightly smaller than Earth's moon, but is surrounded by dangerous levels of radiation. To limit exposure, the Clipper will orbit around Jupiter and make 49 flybys of the moon, one every 2 to 3 weeks. Still ahead, if you're looking to travel anytime soon, some airline ticket prices are going down. We'll talk about it up next. Before we go, if you're not looking forward to the cooler months and wanted one more trip to the beach, then you're in luck. Airfares to some of the world's most gorgeous beaches are now a lot cheaper. The flight comparison site Skyscanner recently released a travel trends report that revealed the destinations with the biggest airfare drops from the U.S. over the past year. The location that came out on top was
the Mediterranean.
Mediterranean, you got it. Resort city of Nice, in fact, Nice, France. Fares to the city fell by 27% in the first half of the year. I've been there, by the way, compared to last year. If you want to travel a little closer to the U.S., then you're urged to head to St. Lucia or Barbados. Fares to those locations dropped by 25 and 24% respectively. So they're saying, go get you some sun if you don't like the cold temperatures.
If you got the money and you can get off from work, you're in good shape.
Then you're in good shape. Just go to one of those locations they recommend there. So I guess if you're going to dodge the snow, and we don't quite have snow, but we do have some colder temperatures coming.
Yeah, we've got some cooler stuff happening our way and a lot of astronomical things this week. Not only that comet, but also a supermoon later this week as temperatures will cool off quite a bit. And we might be dealing with some showers, thunderstorms later this week, maybe dodging a few for Friday night football.
That beach sounds better now, doesn't it? All right, Tom, thanks. And thanks for joining us here. We'll have more news coming up tonight on First Alert 7 News at 10.